loss of life, the 20-year-old Mr. Johnson. I was certainly saddened to wake up and to read that news. You know, as a mayor, I know firsthand the importance of making sure our streets are safe. And I believe that we must do everything in our power to work towards that end. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive that you can be concerned about some of the things that we've seen regarding the task force, but not also want to have safe streets. I believe that there needs to be better communication and cooperation between the federal government and the local authorities, and I happen to think that our local authorities know a little bit more about the local community than federal partners do. So we need to make sure that we're properly informing our law enforcement communities. As a mayor, I've worked hard to make sure that we have the proper training for our police department and that they have the resources necessary. Because here's the bottom line. Our law enforcement communities are trained on how to be law enforcement officers. They know about de-escalation procedures and how to keep our communities safe, not the kind of training that our National Guard has received. So I think it's important that we put the resources into our local law enforcement agencies so that they can do their job of making sure that the streets in Memphis and all across our congressional district are safe.
When I think about the task force, yes, crime is down. However, crime was already trending down in our city before they came. The presence of military will not be armed, and to end up with somebody that is passed over the weekend because they were killed. And while we wait for that information, let's not just think about what happened this past weekend, but we need to think about what has led us here. Be in a city where there have been humanitarian crises come out of the task force, such as people being scared to come out of their homes to go look for food. Our jails are flooded and people are dying in jails. The court system is flooded. And what it has done is trying to desensitize us to think that we need to live under an occupation. But when we talk about strengthening police departments, our police department was already in agreement with the DOJ about how to increase its human rights record, and then the DOJ wiped it away at the behest of the president. And so we need to invest in our communities, and the resources do not need to go to an overblown police department. They need to go to address the sources of crime, uplifting our communities. Thank you.
Here's what happened. The Trump administration defunded $100 million from the crime prevention legislation. Then they sent in the Safe Task Force. So a lot of things that were already working, legislation like the Violence Against Women Act, Victims Crime Act, they were already working, and a lot of local agencies lost their funding, like 901 HEALS. They then sent in the Safe Task Force and spent, almost twice as much just to put people in jail. That didn't solve any issues. As Carrie said, crime was already going down, and all it did was spend a bunch of money and didn't fix anything that as soon as they leave, the same issues are going to happen again. The studies have been done. We need to invest in neighborhoods and help people with education and jobs, and crime will naturally go down. They just wasted a whole bunch of your money.
I'd like to think public safety is something that I've been intertwined with here in Shelby County for quite some time. The federal government began to move into an occupation in Memphis, and the current congressman was not at the table for whatever reason. He was not included into the conversations. Memphis Police Department welcomed the federal support from the federal government, but what we saw was it was not the support that they thought it would have been. It was not funding. It was not just officers, but it was also the National Guard. Having served in the Tennessee National Guard myself, joining at just the age of 17, I'm going to tell you firsthand, service members are not capable of policing city streets. I'm going to say it one more time. Service members are not capable of policing city streets. We knew that it would only be a certain time before the headline would read, "A United States soldier shot domestically a citizen of Memphis." That's not the way our Constitution was conscribed. That's not the way these things are supposed to go. We don't have to go far. Look at Baby Cohen, shot in a moving vehicle. Here in Memphis, we created the legislation in 2020 to make that impossible. It will be against policy for them to do that in Memphis with the 8 can't wait. So I'm about proactive leadership, not just responding to these issues, but creating federal barriers to keep these things from happening, because we've been oppressed by the police department for far too long. Memphis is predominantly African American, and we can police our own streets by making investments into our community instead of policing us.
If the DOJ report had fell through like it should have, we would not be where we are right now. Trump defunded, deregulated, and our DOJ report showed here in our city, in Shelby County, that we had a problem. If we would raise the minimum wage, and give people an opportunity to work and to earn a decent living, there's a great possibility that we would see a difference in what we see. The poverty level here, the trauma, the mental illness. Let us not forget our politicians. Do not stand for what is right. We have caused all of this stuff here in Memphis over the decades. The police need some type of psychological therapy on staff. Many years ago, Memphis Police Department had that, a psychiatrist. They had someone that they could go talk to. The de-escalation, we have not seen any form of de-escalation. And most of the people that are getting killed here in Memphis look like me, that are being killed by people that look like me.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hill.